You think Pizza Hut is just the cardboard box that shows up at your door? 40 years ago, it was the most magical room in America. In the summer of 2020, the chain's largest operator filed for bankruptcy with $903 million of debt and agreed to shut 300 of the red roofs where a generation ate their first slice. You will discover how two college brothers and a $600 loan built the largest pizza chain on the planet, and how the company itself erased what made people love it. By the end, you will learn why the red roof that once meant birthday parties and free pizza for reading became something Pizza Hut spent decades trying to bulldoze. It all starts with a sign that had room for only 8 letters. This is the rise and fall of an American institution. How did the restaurant that taught a nation to love pizza forget what made it special? In May of 1958, pizza was a coastal novelty, almost entirely foreign to the American Midwest. In Wichita, Kansas, 26-year-old Dan Carney and his 19-year-old brother Frank saw an opportunity anyway. The Wichita State students convinced their mother Margaret to lend them $600 to rent a tiny 550-square-foot brick building at the corner of Bluff and Kellogg. The structure was a former beer tavern, and the young brothers set to work converting the cramped space with a collection of mismatched second-hand kitchen gear. They had no proprietary recipe of their own, so they turned to a friend, John Bender, who showed them how to roll dough with a wooden rolling pin and bake thick crusted pies in heavy steel pans. When it came time to hang a sign outside, the building's owner had already purchased a metal frame that only had space for 8 letters. Pizza took up 5, leaving room for just 3 more. Looking at the low, squat silhouette of the brick tavern, the brothers settled on Hut. With their mother's cash spent and a makeshift kitchen ready, the doors opened on May 31st to a crowd of curious college students, but the brothers quickly realized that a single neighborhood hangout could never contain their growing ambitions. In 1959, just 1 year after their Wichita debut, the Carney brothers granted their first franchise to Ron Serrano in Topeka, Kansas, turning their student venture into a disciplined business system. To scale without sacrificing quality, Dan and Frank established centralized dough and ingredient controls, ensuring a pizza baked in Topeka tasted identical to one from the original Hut. This focus on absolute consistency turned a chaotic kitchen operation into a repeatable blueprint. In 1963, they hired artist Edwin T. Pointer to create Pizza Pete, a cartoon chef with a checkered neckerchief and a thick mustache, giving their growing chain a friendly, human face on menus and signs. But as hundreds of new locations began cropping up across the Midwestern highways, the Carneys realized that a cartoon mascot alone could not catch the eye of drivers traveling at 60 miles per hour. In 1969, the Carney brothers hired a college friend, architect Richard Burke, to solve this roadside visibility crisis. Burke designed a low-sloped pavilion roof covered in vivid red sheeting. This structural silhouette was engineered to stand out to motorists traveling 60 miles per hour, serving as a landmark along the rapidly expanding interstate system. Soon, the red shingled roof eclipsed the Pizza Pete cartoon, transforming the physical building itself into the company's ultimate logo. But the real experience unfolded once customers stepped through the heavy doors. Inside, the space was deliberately dim, illuminated by the warm, multicolored glow of Tiffany-style lamps and faux stained glass windows. Families and teenagers on first dates slid into deep red vinyl booths, surrounded by checkered tablecloths and the steady hum of arcade games. It was a physical ritual defined by the clinking of heavy red plastic cups and unlimited trips to the full-service salad bar. The room around the meal became as comforting as the buttery crust itself, turning a simple dinner into a treasured suburban destination. This architectural consistency made the business highly valuable, positioning the Kansas chain for a massive public offering. By 1968, just 10 years after borrowing their mother's $600, Dan and Frank Carney had expanded their single Wichita parlor into a sprawling network of over 300 restaurants. The brothers then looked beyond American borders, launching their first international location in Canada in 1968, which sparked a rapid global push. Within 3 years, Pizza Hut bypassed every competitor to become the largest pizza chain on Earth. To fund this massive footprint, the Carneys took the company public in 1972, listing on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol PIZ. But this rapid leap to Wall Street transformed the family business into a multi-million-dollar financial engine, making it impossible for two Kansas brothers to maintain control alone. This sudden public scale caught the eye of corporate giants, sparking a quiet courtship that would end with a pen stroke and a $300 million buyout. On November 9, 1977, PepsiCo finalized its purchase of Pizza Hut for roughly $300 million, officially ending the era of the Carney brothers' independent leadership. Dan and Frank Carney relinquished control of their Kansas startup, handing the keys of their global empire to a consumer conglomerate. PepsiCo brought vast marketing resources and corporate discipline, transforming menu additions from quiet regional tests into synchronized national television campaigns. This massive advertising muscle faced its first major trial in 1980 with the rollout of the pan pizza. Baked in deep, heavily oiled iron pans to create a golden fried outer crust, this thick, heavy pie quickly became the chain's ultimate signature. To capture the rushed daytime workforce, corporate planners followed up in 1983 by introducing the personal pan pizza, securing the office lunch crowd with a strict 5-minute service guarantee that promised a free meal if the kitchen fell behind. This relentless focus on speed and standardized preparation kept the Red Roofs far ahead of emerging delivery rivals. It demanded a strategy that would turn children into lifelong customers before they even learned to drive. In 1984, Pizza Hut launched the Book It Literacy Program, a marketing masterstroke disguised as a reading incentive. Under this nationwide initiative, elementary students who met monthly reading goals received a shiny blue holographic button and a paper certificate redeemable for a free personal pan pizza. For a generation of children, the promise of that single portion pie turned reading from a school chore into a Friday night victory lap. This program eventually reached over 70 million young readers and generated more than 1.5 billion free pizzas, cementing the brand inside classrooms and childhood memories. By 1986, this hyper-local goodwill fueled massive physical growth, marked by the opening of the company's 5,000th restaurant in Dallas, Texas. That same year, Pizza Hut rolled out nationwide home delivery to defend its territory, yet the heart of the business remained inside its brick-and-mortar cathedrals. Families packed the red vinyl booths for youth sports banquets and birthday parties, soundtracked by the mechanical clank of arcade cabinets, the hum of jukeboxes, and the clinking of heavy red plastic cups under the low glow of Tiffany lamps. Pizza Hut had become a weekly suburban ritual. But this massive, capital-heavy infrastructure of dining rooms and salad bars was about to collide with a corporate spin-off that would prioritize short-term profit over physical nostalgia. This shift begs a darker question. Did Pizza Hut's corporate caretakers knowingly dismantle the very dining experience that built the brand? The coming collapse was driven by deliberate boardroom calculated decisions rather than simple bad luck, as executive incentives increasingly favored quick cash over community heritage. The most damaging of these corporate choices still lay ahead. But before the Red Roofs began to go dark, the franchise had one final, spectacular era left. A multi-million-dollar menu gamble in the spring of 1995 that would temporarily make the brand look absolutely unstoppable. In March of 1995, Pizza Hut turned the traditional dining experience upside down, literally. product developer Patty Scheibmeyer conceived a radical design that baked a continuous rope of hot mozzarella directly into the outer edge of the dough, transforming what customers usually discarded into the main attraction. To launch this cheese-filled ring to the public, the company hired real estate mogul Donald Trump to star in a flashy national commercial where he famously ate his sliced crust first. The marketing gamble paid off instantly. By the end of 1995, system-wide sales surged 16% to reach an unprecedented $5.2 billion, driving operating income past the $400 million mark. This massive windfall made Pizza Hut look completely invincible as families flooded the Red Roof diners to try the novelty. Yet behind these record-breaking numbers, this sudden rush of cash masked a deeper, systemic vulnerability. The labor-intensive preparation of stuffed crust placed an immense operational strain on franchise kitchens designed for simpler times, just as PepsiCo executives began quietly planning a massive corporate exit that would strip the chain of its corporate safety net. On May 30th, 1997, PepsiCo offloaded its entire restaurant division, spinning off Pizza Hut alongside Taco Bell and KFC into a new corporate entity called Tricon Global Restaurants. When Tricon rebranded as Yum Brands in 2002, Pizza Hut found itself positioned as one of three corporate siblings forced to compete internally for capital. This structural shift changed the financial equation entirely. Under the new portfolio model, every dollar spent maintaining a massive brick-and-mortar dining room, paying for commercial real estate, property taxes, and staff for a sit-down service, was a dollar that could not be allocated to building high-volume drive-thrus for Taco Bell. The Red Roof, once the company's greatest asset, was reclassified on the balance sheet as an expensive liability. Corporate managers prioritized cost containment and streamlined carry-out units, starving the legacy restaurants of investment. But while Yum Brands executives starved these dine-in locations to optimize their spreadsheets, a rival across the highway was quietly developing a digital logistics engine designed to steal the delivery market entirely. Between 2009 and 2018, Domino's executed a complete digital overhaul, rolling out a high-speed online ordering system and a GPS-enabled delivery tracker. While Pizza Hut remained tethered to its sprawling, high-overhead physical dining rooms, Domino's stripped its business down to a highly efficient, technology-first logistics machine. The strategic split was stark. The modern market rewarded convenience on a couch, while Pizza Hut was still carrying the heavy tax, real estate, and staffing burdens of a sit-down restaurant. By 2015, the operational divergence showed up directly on the balance sheets. From that year onward, Pizza Hut's U.S. comparable store sales entered a steady decline, while Domino's posted quarter after quarter of strong, technology-driven growth. This performance gap culminated in a historic shift, as Domino's officially bypassed Pizza Hut to become the largest pizza chain in the world. The iconic red roofs, once beacons of suburban celebration, had transformed into massive financial anchors. With delivery dominating the market and profits drying up inside the dining rooms, corporate leadership realized they could no longer afford to maintain their physical legacy, forcing a quiet renegotiation that would systematically dismantle the Red Roof empire. By 2018, dine-in traffic generated just 10% of Pizza Hut's total sales. This marginal sliver of revenue could no longer justify the high overhead real estate of suburban properties, especially since overall system-wide sales had remained essentially flat since 2004. Corporate executives reacted by pressuring franchisees to systematically convert classic Red Roof restaurants into stripped-down carry-out units. Inside the legacy buildings, workers dismantled the cozy dining rooms, ripping out the deep red vinyl booths, tearing down the famous salad bars, and unscrewing the warm, stained glass Tiffany-style lamps. These inviting communal spaces were replaced with sterile, bare-walled carry-out counters designed to minimize customer dwell time and eliminate waitstaff. The sit-down experience was not simply neglected, it was deliberately dismantled, building by building, to save on labor, taxes, and maintenance. But this aggressive corporate downsizing did not secure the brand's financial future. Instead, it pushed Pizza Hut's largest franchise operator into a massive debt-laden crisis that threatened to bring down the entire empire. On July 1, 2020, NPC International officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. As Pizza Hut's largest franchisee, NPC operated over 1,200 restaurants across 47 states, but it was suffocating under a massive debt load of $903 million. The company's balance sheet, battered by years of declining dine-in sales, high lease obligations, and the rising costs of mandatory corporate remodels, could no longer support the heavy physical footprint of these legacy locations. By August of 2020, a court-approved agreement authorized NPC to permanently close up to 300 stores, focusing almost entirely on the classic red roof dine-in locations. Salvage crews immediately went to work across suburban America, stripping away the weathered red shingles, tearing out the remaining vinyl booths, and loading the last of the stained glass Tiffany lamps into the back of flatbed trucks. This massive wave of closures made years of quiet strategic retreats suddenly and materially visible, transforming abstract corporate restructuring into a physical reality of dark windows and empty, cracked asphalt. The bankruptcy proved that while Yum Brands could keep the iconic red logo alive on cardboard boxes and smartphone apps, the actual physical room where families once gathered was permanently gone, leaving a hollowed-out brand to face an aggressive, multi-billion-dollar private equity buyout. Today, those red roofs survive as architectural ghosts, repurposed into pawn shops and sterile offices. In chasing asset-light corporate efficiency, Pizza Hut traded a sacred community ritual for a cardboard box. The logo remains, but the soul of the experience is gone forever. Did you grow up under the red roof? Share your favorite memories in the comments below.